You just knew watching this in real time that this could be something bad. Justin Jefferson in the Vikings-Chiefs game suffering a non-contact injury on trying to make a break on his route, slipped on the turf. A hamstring issue, never good, especially for a wide receiver. And now we know what the ramifications are. Justin Jefferson is going on IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games. And according to head coach Kevin O'Connell, there is no timetable for his return. So maybe he returns after the 4 games. Maybe it goes a little bit longer than that. It could be for the whole season. We'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, the dynamics have shifted for the short and long term of this season, 2023. Number one, Jordan Addison is going to get more snaps. He's going to get more PT. And technically, if you want to nitpick it, he's the wide receiver 2 based off of the fact that before this injury, he was the wide receiver 3, should have always been the wide receiver 2. I'm assuming KJ Osborne is the wide receiver 1, but at this point in time, when you're talking about wide receiver 1 and 2, it's semantics, especially if you're going to run 2 receiver sets, it doesn't matter. Jordan Addison, he's going to get ample opportunities in a full-time role to show what he's about. And also from the practice squad, N'Keal Harry, who was already getting elevated to the active roster with a healthy Justin Jefferson. Of course, he's going to get more opportunities for that, but also a guy like Tristan Jackson. But in the meantime, your immediate wide receivers 1 through 3 are KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison, and Brandon Powell. As far as the long-term view of this season, whether you want to call it a fire sale or whatever, all things aside, just take a bird's eye view of this team. If you're the front office and the coaching staff, you have to say, we're 1-4. We're a bad team. A bad 1-4 team just lost its best player. This season is essentially a wash. So the Kirk Cousins thing, that's going to take over the airwaves and the national media. I'm tired of talking about it. I just don't think it's realistic at all. There's too many hurdles to jump over to make that happen. However, you do have a golden nugget on your roster, a guy that more than likely is not going to be on your team next year. He's an unrestricted free agent. Certainly has some value beyond what you'll get in a compensation pick, and that's Danielle Hunter. This is an elite pass rusher, currently tied for second in the league in sacks and still in his prime. I can only imagine there are multiple teams that are dying for his services right now. Just off the top of my head, Tampa, Atlanta, and most definitely Jacksonville. Jacksonville, in particular, they're a team that thinks they can be right there in the thick of things in the AFC, contending for a championship right there with Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, if they can get their acts together. And furthermore, not only do they need a pass rusher bad, but I think this would be similar to the Khalil Mack situation going from Oakland to Chicago, where if let's say Jacksonville, they trade for Danielle Hunter, they'll automatically give him that multi-year contract that he's looking for because he's not going to get it from Minnesota. Furthermore, a team that is willing to commit to a player like that is also, I would say, willing to give up a high draft pick. They have their first round pick next year, and they have their franchise quarterback. So that's out the window to where, okay, done. Now, if you want to say that, well, we can use our first round pick to continue to build around Trevor Lawrence, well, okay, that's not a guarantee because in 2022, the Jags had the first overall pick and used it on Trayvon Walker, which is why their pass rush isn't worth a damn right now. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars just makes too much sense. But again, that's that's on the Vikings to look themselves in the mirror and say, we're 1-4, we're a bad team, we just lost our best player. Our next 4 games, 3 of them are on the road. Our one home game coming up in the next 4 is against the best team in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. It's over. This season is a wash. And if I'm Justin Jefferson, quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he were, and if I was Justin Jefferson. Listen, man, I was super professional this offseason. I didn't get my contract, but guess what? I still showed up to mandatory minicamp, to training camp, preseason, all the things. I didn't cause any sort of fuss, and I played this season, and now I'm hurt. I tried to be professional about this, but you know what? In my best interest, I'm going to sit my ass down, shut it down for this season, and I won't come back until I get my contract. We'll see what he does, but I can just only imagine just how frustrated he has been with this whole process, that it's like, you know what? Now I need to look out for me. We'll see what happens.